Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, host of Decades. We've got a very interesting and spicy show right now. Before we get into the gist of the show, I want to shout out to Bill Geiser out in Florida. His son, Jack, is getting married this weekend in Dallas. I'm assuming to a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman.
She is.
Yep, she is obviously very smart enough to join the Geiser clan. I also want a big shout out to Crazy Man, who this weekend is walking 65 miles. Okay, now you're not just going Forrest Gump style, you're doing it for a purpose. Crazy Man, can you explain to everyone what the hell you're doing this for?
Well, I am part of OEW, and we're raising money for our programs. So everything that we raise is 100% volunteer. So about 92 to 93% of a dollar goes back into the program. So this also goes to, since it's Memorial Weekend, it's also to honor those that have fallen and given their life to our freedom. And that's what I'm doing for it. This is the second year that I'll be doing it in person, and I'm looking forward to that.
And how long are you expecting this to take?
I'm hoping to take about 24 hours. Last year, it took me 28 hours, and that was actually on 11-month-old partial knee replacement.
Okay, and in case you're wondering, everyone, yes, I did ask if he is allowed to go to the bathroom, and yes, he is allowed to go to the bathroom. So
Yes.
we've crossed that bridge. Gru, anything exciting for you on Saturday? I don't think you're going to beat those two, but.
Well, I had my orange belt tested, my Krav Maga last Sunday. It took 7.5 hours of workshop and test, and I'm not sure if I'm passed because I haven't gotten any word from the instructor yet.
Okay, did you say orange belt? You got a little excited, so your accent got thicker.
It says like I'm going to be training at level 3 if I pass the test.
Okay, level 3. Are you like a lethal weapon neck? Like, can you kill someone?
I mean, I can defend myself, and so the whole point is not to kill somebody, is to disarm somebody so I can actually escape and go about my life.
And so if someone offers you a Bud Light, because I know how much rage you have, and say that's Charlie Sheen, you could just break his arm in 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Well, I'll offer to buy him a good beer, okay?
Okay. Sub 60 Ed, since you're on screen, I'm assuming you want to talk. Is there anything
yeah.
you have
No,
planned?
actually, I am going. I'm actually headed to a wedding myself. A friend of my wife's is getting married up in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to look for Bruce Springsteen while I'm up there too.
He's got it in the highlights or headlines.
Yeah, yes. But anyway, headed to a wedding as well. So.
Okay.
So
let's get going. So on last Friday, the Her tapes came out. For those that don't know, there was a special counsel, I think it was in 2023, where this guy, Her, comes out and he basically does some interviews with Joey B. They wanted to make sure that he's cognitively there, that Joey B is cognitively there, not Her. And they asked him some simple questions. And then when they got back, he had the transcripts, but the tapes were never released. And he even had to go in front of Congress and all that. And they were basically chastising him really, really bad. And saying, how dare you say anything about this in your transcripts, let alone, the tapes. And everyone's like, okay, let's see the tapes, or let's hear the tapes, excuse me. And nothing. Well, Friday, it kind of started to leak out. Sub 60, can you play that first? I think it's about a minute long tape.
Living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer booster shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time.
Okay, so this is coming out and everyone's starting to think, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Michael, you there? Michael, welcome. We're just talking about the Her tapes somewhat being released on Friday and kind of just starting a whirlwind of Joey B-ness. And you can just listen to that no matter what he's talking about. And you can understand that. And we've all had older relatives like this or friends that we know that you can only pedal a bike so fast. And sometimes those pedals are broken. Sometimes the tires are flat. And it's one of those things where you can clearly hear Joey B's got nothing.
Someone's mic is all.
Yeah. I think it's probably
that was Michael.
Yeah.
It's Michael. Yep.
Just mute him, sub 16 till. My question is, was this leak accidental? Was it on purpose? Was anyone surprised by this? Because when I heard it, I was like, yeah. I've seen this literally 1,000 times. I was not surprised about it, and we'll get to the other Joey B news, but I just want to hit on this one first because to me this is so damning that okay, this is 2023, and not only was he like this in 2023, but they also wanted to run him again. I'll start with you, Bill Geiser.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack
Yeah.
on this thing. So the question is, was it sort of an intentional leak? I think that's what you're asking. Is that right?
I guess that's my first question. My second question is, does it make you more angry about the whole process of what our country's gone through the last 4 years?
Well, I don't know if I'm more angry. I mean, you really can't sort of deny what our eyes saw for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like you had this message coming in from the media. Oh, he's fine. He's as strong as he's ever been. He outworks us all. But then you look at him and you see a very frail, demented human being. I mean, that's what the visual said pretty consistently. And now we're hearing the truth. And that does kind of make, at first I was pissed off at Biden. Now my belief is there were some real evil assholes that took advantage of a very vulnerable human being. And those are the guys I want vengeance on. Whoever did that to Biden. I don't think Biden was like that, really. I mean, if historically, when you take a look at what his positions were, he wasn't that progressive whack job that he sort of became or was made out to be at the end of his presidency. He was much more centrist. And boy, who's ever behind this shit has done untold damage to this country, and we can talk about that later. But I think people need to pay the price on this one.
Crazy man, did that just listening to that? I'm not sure if you've heard it before. Did that disturb you at all? What's your thoughts?
I think, as Bill was saying, that there are people that should have protected him, and if they knew he was in a vulnerable position, I think there's somebody that should be standing up for just not him, but any president on the left or the right or in the middle, that it could be damaging. And truthfully, to me, somebody dropped the ball and they did not protect him because, as Bill said, he was vulnerable. He's going down. He's getting older, as you were saying. And we have our elders, as we would call them, do forget things. So in that aspect, I would say that somebody should have made sure that they kept a good eye on him and supported him in whatever state he was in.
I agree. Gru?
Okay, I was not totally surprised by those tapes because me and pretty much almost everybody kind of saw him and his state and how he was lost, how he didn't know where to go after his speeches, had to be walked by hand, otherwise he would have gotten lost, shaking hands with bunnies and stuff. And his so-called puppeteers took advantage of his frail health. And I also partially blame his wife, who kind of let it go. Okay, I mean, she should have been the one protecting him from all that elder abuse, and she did not. That's my opinion.
I agree. I've always said that I always thought Rose from Titanic was the most evil female ever on screen, but I'm starting to think that Jill Biden might take that title. I mean,
Lady Biden.
Yeah, I mean, because the other political figures, I get it. They're political figures and they're doing anything for power. We've seen it a billion times, but his own wife just trotting him out there. It's like, dude, at some point, Jill, let go of the power. Michael, what's your thoughts?
So as someone maybe more emotionally invested in the success of the Democratic Party than you guys are, and that's fine. Yeah, my bitterness comes from the fact that I don't necessarily begrudge Biden for running against Trump after Trump whooped Hillary in 2020 and beating him, because I think he was the man for the job at the time. But as we all know from dealing with elder people, at least I know personally, that you can get much older real fast, right? And so he got elected because he was the guy to beat Trump, and from the Democratic standpoint, he was the only guy really who could probably beat him in 2020. And then, yeah, he shouldn't have run again. We should have had a primary. We should have vetted a bunch of people, and we should have had, you know, what the Republicans had in 2016 and all that stuff. We should have had a bunch of Democrats up there debating each other so we could have found the best candidate. And he announced he was going to, when he announced he was going to run again, everybody knew he was too old. It was like Reagan at the end of his second term. Everybody knew he couldn't do it again.
Okay, Michael. Let me cut you off real quick. I have a thought on this.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on? Okay, this is 2023. He's saying this. Everyone on the right has been looking at this for 4 years. You're kind of pulling for the Democratic Party, which, you know, we both should at this point. And he's going to run again. Do you think it was they wanted him to run? Because I don't, at that point, honestly, I don't know what he wanted or.
I don't know whether it was he really pushed for it or people who worked for him didn't want to give up being the White House.
My question,
I don't know.
Do you think
the Politburo?
Yeah. Do you think it was done because they knew, okay, if he wins, then we can say, boom, drop him out, and now we have the first black female president?
No, I think it was the inertia of politics. It was people in power didn't want, because look, if you work for Biden and someone else gets elected president who's a Democrat, you're unlikely to stick around. I think it was the people around him or him just got used to being there and didn't want to give it up. And I think I'm still bitter about it. Absolutely. And you know, but I will say this, the media hoopla this week it's a different media hoopla. The media hoopla last week about how senile he was, I think is a little false clutching at pearls. We all knew it. I mean, that's why he lost, right? It's one of the major reasons why, you know, he got kicked out in last summer. Everybody realized after that debate that he was where he was. None of this stuff should be a surprise to anybody. After that debate.
But doesn't that open up a whole other can of worms, which is, should he have even been the president at that point in time? Was he capable of making decisions, and was his condition putting our country at risk?
I think he did. Look, we never really know from some of these elderly guys like Reagan in his second term where they were throughout the whole 4 years health-wise, because I think until there are laws about how they have to be honest about this shit, like, we don't really know how healthy Trump is. You know, I don't believe he's got the physique of he's 250 pounds and, you know, the physique of a linebacker. I think that's all horseshit, right? But the point is, when he got elected and he beat Trump in 2020, he was sharper in the debates than Trump was. He was doing pretty well. Look, we all knew he was old, but he's not that much older than Trump. So it was two really old white guys, and we all voted for one of them. So I don't think you can really get into the conspiracy theories of they were hiding how much dementia was affecting him then. I think the pressure of being the president for a bunch of years probably greatly hastened his decline, and he should have never goddamn run again. And he said when he got elected the first time he was going to be a one-term president, and he went back on that. And I'm still angry about that, because I think one of the main reasons we ended up here with Trump 2.0, in my opinion, is because we didn't get to vet a whole bunch of different Democratic candidates to see if there was somebody somewhat moderate and sane that we could have run against Trump. That a lot of people who voted for Trump because they couldn't stand Kamala maybe would have voted for. I don't know.
Something just doesn't smell right, though. You know, I mean, well, this is what kind of is odd. I'm thinking is why the media backlash? Why are the media who protected him like he's the Pope, like they're the Swiss Guard and he was the Pope, and now they're all turning on him?
Well, that goes. I can give you a quote. I forget who it was. It's from I think it's from the movie His Girl Friday, which is an old movie, with Cary Grant, about a bunch of guys in a press room. The two things Americans love: building up a hero and then tearing them down. It's two things that sell papers: pumping somebody up and tearing them down.
They didn't do it to Obama.
Well, if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't bleed.
This guy,
right?
This guy. There's something stinky about this one.
Well, Jake Tapper's got a book out. Everybody's scratching everybody's mad. It's the Democrats. Look, it sells papers. That's why I think it's.
Okay, hold on. But let's go. Sub 60, get the video where it shows Joe Scarborough at the start, and I think this is what Bill's talking about, and this is what every person that's not a loyal Democrat, blah blah blah, or just someone that was looking for just open eyes was going like, "What are you talking about?" Like, okay, Sub 60, play this clip for me.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer.
Not that one, Sub 60, the other one with Joe Scarborough. That's that one we're going to come back to.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was 9.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical situation, remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I was sitting, 2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
Have trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp. They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed. Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas. There hasn't been, as far as I know, a single claim that Biden made a mistake.
Like, that video is 15 minutes long, and you could find 100 of them just like that. And I think that's where people like Bill just look and go like, what are you guys like? Joe Scarborough, either you're lying or you're an idiot. Which one is it? Or the Mayorkas, like, you're lying or you're an idiot. And then
I think it's they're fooling themselves. They remember a younger Biden who was more sharp, even going back 8 or 9 years to when he was more sharp. But I'm with you guys. It's a complete. The fact that he ran again. Look, I don't think the fact that he got elected was a big conspiracy. We could talk. I have one other conspiracy I'd love to talk about later today, but I think the fact that he got elected isn't a conspiracy. I think there was Trump.
No one's saying that.
And
no one is saying that. No one's saying.
No. I know. But I think the fact that they hid the fact that he was deteriorating faster than anyone imagined. And the fact that he was pretty clearly deteriorating is one of the reasons why he shouldn't run again and why he ended up having to give it up.
I'll take it one step further. I think they weren't just hiding it. They were capitalizing on it.
Oh, yes.
They were. This was a conspiracy 100%. To effectively bypass the presidential decision-making process by a cabal of real evil assholes that found power and said, hey, this is pretty fucking cool. Ed, play the, I don't know if you got the video I sent about Tim Burchett. Do you have that?
About child sex trafficking. I mean, that happens because of an open border. 25 million, many hundreds of thousands of children because of Joe Biden. Now we learned that Joe Biden had terminal illness the entire time he was in office. Maybe this was what all of the vacations, 577 days on vacation. Perhaps he was getting cancer treatment. We have had doctors on the program all yesterday saying all of Joe Biden's activities, the weakness, the falling, the fog, the brain fog, that's because of cancer medication. They were hiding this from the American people. What should happen to the people who hid this from us? Are Joe Biden's acts constitutional? What's your measure on Jill Biden?
Well, that'll be decided at the courts, but I'm sure we'll write somebody a strong letter and move on about it. I don't think anybody really brought to justice over this. You've got staffers. I would look. Tennessee has had a history of this. We had a governor several governors ago. He's since passed away, but he sold pardons. You can look it up. His name was Ray Blanton. It made national news, and I mean they wrote songs, "Pardon Me, Ray," and it was a cash for clemency deal. And that's exactly what I think you're going to find out. You're going to find staffers that were able to take forms, get them, and run them through some sort of bogus legal system, and then they auto pinned them. And there's probably people out on the street that shouldn't be, but somebody got rich off that. And
Wow.
and I think those people, I hate to say it, but you'll see something probably horrible happen to some of those people because it goes up the chain. This is a very dangerous town to play games in.
So you're saying that the Biden staffers took payouts and just ran the auto pen for certain pardons.
I have no direct proof of that, but I'm just talking about history. And if you got somebody making $100,000 a year and somebody offers you $250,000 in some safety deposit box. Yeah. I mean, look at all those, look at Clinton's clemency, Bill Clinton, the people he gave clemency to. Some of those people were just awful, awful people. And nobody raised a beat about them.
Yeah, I personally know people who paid millions to try and get Trump to pardon them. Very rich guys who are in prison for good reasons, and they go through these Republican lobbyists to try and get it done. It's a huge industry.
So my point on this is that you had a very weak, demented leader, and you had people taking advantage of that situation for their own benefit. Legally, what's going to happen to him? I think Burchett's right. Probably nothing's going to happen to him. Right. But I do think that there's a different political will today than what existed when Trump's first term was there. And I think what you'll see is the DOJ go after some of these people in a way similar to what the Biden administration did to the J6 people. They knew they were trying to cripple them, crush them, destroy their lives. Some of them, most of them would be let go, but it didn't matter. They wanted them to serve as an example. And I think we are going to see the same thing here. There is going to be retribution for these guys. Because remember, these are the people that tried to assassinate Trump twice. And you heard what Burchett said. This is a very dangerous city to fuck around in. And that's what these people did. And I think they're going to find out.
Yeah. And then, so we've all got this going on where everyone's kind of, like you said, the media was spinning it. Oh, dementia. And then Sunday afternoon, or even in the morning, it drops that Joey B's got stage 4 prostate cancer. He's had clean bills of health all throughout the entire time. All hell breaks loose. And which brings up the more conspiracy theories. I know, Michael, how much you love when I talk about this. Or Sub 60, play that video that you just played with the one where Joey B, and just listen to the last sentence he says, or the last 2 sentences. The one where
because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer.
And that's from 2021. So either he did it and he just a gaffe, or he's just whatever. I can just imagine his handlers at that point when that little gaffe came out and said, because either he did have it, which 99% of the doctors are saying, yeah, you have this strong a cancer. It's not something that, happens within a week. Okay. It's something that, it takes a while to get to the point of, okay, we've got a code red. So there's that. Gru, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I read today that his last prostate blood test was in 2014. Biden's. So I mean, in 11 years, if you haven't done your prostate blood tests, I mean, and basically, of course, you can get cancer in 2015, 16, 17, 18, and not really know about it until you do the test. And it's I mean.
I agree with you 1,000%. I just don't buy it. And also, this is the most powerful man on the planet with the most doctors. I mean, he can get a blood test on the way to getting his cornflakes in the morning. He's got a team of doctors that live in the White House. I just don't buy that this dude hasn't had his prostate checked, since 2014. I mean, I don't get it. It's not like he's a hobo on San Francisco street.
Back to my previous point. Why wasn't he forced by Jill again to go and get exams and tests and etc. to make sure he's healthy enough to live? I'm not talking about his presidency, okay?
No, you know what, guys? It's Obama got his prostate checked and published the results.
Yeah.
I mean, people are saying, some people in the media are saying, oh well, men over 70, they don't often do it because there's no cost benefit to it, and that's bullshit. When you're the president, you get every test. And I agree with you. Yeah. One of two things happened: he refused to get it, and they went along with it, or he got it, the results were iffy, and they kept it quiet. And either one's bullshit and stupid. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. It's because the dumbest part about it is, if you get your prostate checked and you got prostate cancer, you make a good example for the American people. You get it treated. That doesn't affect your ability to do the job. If you catch it early enough and it's not lethal, you deal with it. And
you leave.
Well, I think it goes back to what you said, which is Joe running for the second, trying to run again,
right?
Was the Machiavellian error that for whatever reason,
horrible decision.
Whoever put him up to it. This is now cascaded in so many different ways. It is going to, I just tried to think through this thing today and say, how many different categories of issues does this potential cover-up involve? Here's what I came up with. There's legal issues, political issues, ethical issues, national security issues, public health and perception issues. The list goes on.
Well, and ethical issues for sure. I mean, just moral issues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And each one has multiple layers to it. And that's why this is going to this is the biggest scandal I think I've seen.
I will say this though, and it's the only thing I will say, and it's not in defense of Biden or any of his people. I will simply put this out there because this aggravates me. Hypocrisy aggravates me almost more than anything, right? Anybody who's a staunch Trump supporter angrily saying we were lied to, we were lied to, we were lied to, as if honesty is something you suddenly care about, having supported Trump, who basically has been caught a zillion times lying and admits and is proud of how good he is at lying, is being a hypocrite. Look, I get.
Who are you saying though is lying?
I get we want a president who's healthy, but Trump fucking lies all the time.
I don't think.
Believe, by the way, that Trump's
I don't think this is a Biden. I don't think Biden's the bad guy here.
No, but somebody.
I think his wife is one of the bad guys.
She's the devil.
Yes. I think his senior advisors are bad guys. I think the Democratic Party leadership are bad guys. The media was a bad guy. White House staffers were bad guys. And how about the fucking cabinet? Are you telling me that he didn't have a fucking cabinet meeting for what, 3 or 4 years? And
actually,
no one raised
I think it
their
was-
hand?
I think it was
Holy
2 years
fuck,
they
get rid
kept
of
him
all
away.
of them.
Well, now
Get rid of all of them.
Bill Geiser, that brings up an interesting point. Sub 60, play that Hunter video, the Hunter Biden video. So,
That's the one with Tapper.
no, yes,
The other one.
yes, it's the one that says Hunter video.
Okay, I don't have them. Okay.
There's no evidence to support the allegation my father was financially involved in my business because it did not happen. There's no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. And I do have to say, whatever you think of Hunter Biden, and there's certainly a lot of people in this town, Democrats and Republicans, that do not think a lot of him, there is a certain kind of like cruelty to the campaign against him. Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter?
Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that people, he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
It's bizarre because I think he is provably, demonstrably unethical, sleazy, and prone to horrible decisions. I mean,
Tell me how you really feel.
well, I mean, just look at the record. I mean, after his brother died, he cheated on his wife with his brother's widow and then got her addicted to crack. That's just one thing I could say. I mean, I don't have a lot of personal regard for.
Crazy man, who is running the country?
It's sort of.
I mean, and I think that's what Bill Geiser was trying to get to is like, okay, right. Joey B, he's out there. He's got nothing. You know, he's like the old guy who craps his pants. He can't help it. He's old. He's crapping his pants. But if someone, Jill, keeps pushing him out there and he keeps crapping his pants in public, it's like, we got to start yelling at Jill here. So, crazy man, who's running the country?
I think it's both the leadership from Democrats and Republicans. I mean, they're all, whatever makes them look good. And to look at it from one side or the other, it's unfortunate. It is whoever is both sides. And truthfully, both sides could be collaborating behind the scenes. Say, hey, this year we're going to be, it's our fault. Next year it's your fault. And it's a cycle. It's where the media will play everybody. And if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. And that's how reporting goes. As Michael said, scandals sell papers. I think it's, as much as you want to think, everybody thinks our top leaders, the Democrats and Republicans, they are truthfully our representatives. They're not leaders. We only have one leader. And I think in the sideline, there are shadows and both sides are playing each other.
Sure. I mean, that's, no one should be surprised that in the history of world leaders, it's a bunch of guys standing around behind the throne, behind the curtains, who are making 9/10 of the decisions. And if you're lucky, you get a leader like Reagan or JFK or someone who has a clear vision of what they want, and they bring the right people in who understand your vision and do your vision and make decisions based on your vision, not based on their own self-interest, not based on their own business practices, and not based on their own political philosophies that don't necessarily match with the actual leader. I mean, that's the trick, right? And I think Obama did it pretty well. I think the people that worked for Obama, whether you like his policies or not, I think they enacted the policies he wanted enacted. I think Biden was like that inflatable automatic pilot in the Airplane movie for at least the second half of his term. And I honestly, but to Bill's point, I feel sorry. I mean, this is something Bill and I agree on. I feel sorry for the guy. I feel like he was victimized. I really do. I feel like he was. And I don't know who to blame. I don't know whether it was Jill or somebody else, but it's shitty that it happened. Absolutely, 100%.
Bill Geiser, you're kind of smirking up there.
Well, I mean, I've kind of said my piece on it. I think that this was very malicious. I do believe laws were broken, and I hope we dig into this because I never want to see this happen again.
And not to monopolize, but one more comment I will make because I've heard more than one person say this. I do think that and of course anything can be falsified. And I know there are issues about the privacy of health documents, but I do think the President of the United States is an important enough role that there should be new rules put in place about you don't get to handpick some quack doctor to stand up there and tell the press you're healthy. I think it should be accredited scientists that everybody agrees on, or maybe Congress,
almost like a CPA
or whatever. And there's a certain form with a certain number of fields, with a certain number of tests that have to be done on a regular basis to make sure we're dealing with somebody.
Bravo.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, and I think that's a nonpartisan issue.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a nonpartisan issue.
It's like getting your books checked. You know, you got a CFO that prepares your books, but it's audited. You go through an audit, and it's through an outside independent auditor.
And most big corporations, they take out health insurance and life insurance on their CEOs, and they send a doctor. The insurance company sends a doctor to do a checkup on them once a year. And you better believe if that doctor finds out that the CEO's going senile or something, the board of directors is going to find out.
Well,
I mean,
I guarantee you, if we had a CEO who never showed up at a board meeting or held board meetings, he wouldn't be the CEO long. And that's what happened with the cabinet meetings. The cabinet meeting is like your board of directors, really, or it's like a board meeting. And the fact that they didn't have them, I mean, that's criminal.
The fact that
get the hook.
The fact that the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the cabinet didn't say we need to have a goddamn meeting and push harder on White House staff does make me think that everybody was winking and nodding to each other because everybody knew.
Oh, 100%.
And that's a real problem. I agree. Look, this is a nonpartisan issue for me. I completely agree with you guys. I don't care whether we're talking about Trump or Biden, any of these guys.
Anyway. Yeah, we the people elect a president.
I think Trump's doctor is
the only big job that we elect a leader for. It's not picked by a committee of politicians.
Right.
We elected him, and he never showed up. He didn't do his job. There's got to be recourse.
Is anyone has anyone seen any interviews of the doctor? Like, hey man, what did you just said he had a clean bill of health, and you never just said, hey, let me check out your ass because you're a dude and you got a prostate? Like, I don't understand.
I didn't listen to it carefully.
Dragging those guys
he's going to be. I'm sure he's going to be pulled in and asked a lot of questions.
John Bergeron, who I know is in a plane right now, coming back, he says, where is it? Should Karine Jean-Pierre ever be trusted again?
No.
But if you'll notice, she's not even really around anymore. Then he also says, may I ask what happened to Albrigo Garcia, our fine man from Maryland? I mean,
he's getting another tattoo.
He's still sitting in a cell. I don't want to talk about that. I'll just get angry.
What also is very scary to me, Biden was in charge of nuclear codes for the last 4 years. So it's kind of scary. In his condition.
I'll tell you that I'm the first one to say that I think Donald Trump is dangerous, but I personally think that when you hear the president's in charge of the nuclear codes, I think there's a line of people between the president and those two keys.
I know. It's not
sure nothing happens. I don't actually worry about Donald Trump launching missiles because I know that there's a bunch of guys in the Pentagon who are going to say, well, let's all take a deep breath here, sir. And I think the same is true with Biden.
Yeah, I was sarcastic. I was not actually.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
What's up, 60? Why don't we go to a quick commercial and then we'll come back and discuss some more for about 10, 15 minutes.
Hey, can I do a quick conspiracy bit at the end here for like 2 minutes?
Right now, or you want to come back?
No. I want to reserve my time, Mr.
Oh yeah, when we come back, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Go.
Tip is on a DuckDuckGo chatbot that won't be trained on your data. DuckDuckGo wants to demonstrate that it's possible to host privacy-protecting AI chatbots. The company pulled this off by reaching deals with chatbot providers such as OpenAI and Anthropic to forbid them from training their AI models using the queries from DuckDuckGo users. To create another layer of protection, DuckDuckGo will also submit its own IP address rather than user's IP address with each chat inquiry made. In addition, DuckDuckGo does not save or store any chats, the company said. To respond with answers and ensure all systems are working the underlying model, providers may store chats temporarily. But there is no way for them to tie back to you personally, since all metadata is removed. This tech tip for a great show called Decades is brought to you by Alex on Tech.
Gru, that was fantastic. I also want to remind everyone, don't forget we've got AC of AC Sports Live at 9 p.m. Then we also have 9:30 The Ride with Chevy and Nasty tonight. Dinner on Michael when Trump wins the Nobel Peace Prize. Is that true, Michael?
So when do we get to conclude that he's never going to win it and it's dinner on you guys for me? Can he win it when he's dead? After he dies, if he hasn't won it, everybody's got to send pizzas to my house or something because I'm not buying it.
As much as I think they'll try as hard as to not give it to him. I think if this Ukraine, Russia thing, whatever, Middle East, something, I think at some point they're going to have to say, okay, man, we got to give it to you.
I don't know if he can look, the Ukraine thing. I think is the lost cause for him. He's already thrown his hands up on that one. I think if he can negotiate peace in Gaza and it lasts longer than 6 months, he might get it. But I don't know, man. We'll have to see. He's got to stop pissing off all the Europeans first, or they'll never give it to him.
Okay, but let me speak for John Bergeron. So are you having a bet with him right now, or if he does within the next 3 years win the Nobel Peace Prize, you buy him dinner? If not, he buys you dinner.
100%. If Donald Trump gets the Nobel Peace Prize in the next 3 years, I will buy John Bergeron dinner.
And then if he doesn't, Bergeron, hopefully you can hear this or you're listening or whatever, you're going to buy Michael dinner if he does not.
I'll represent him as his lawyer and agree to that right now.
Bergeron says deal. As he's on 30,000 feet in the air.
Deal.
Okay, Michael.
I got a deal right there.
Michael, the floor is yours. Let me hear your latest conspiracy.
I just wanted to point out real quick, because I wouldn't want it to get lost in the shuffle of all the news, that as long as we're talking about conspiracy theories, who saw Kash Patel and Don, whatever his name is, Bongino on Fox News over the weekend?
I saw it.
They said They said two very, very scandalous things. They said they've solved the murder of Jeffrey Epstein, and the guilty party was Jeffrey Epstein. They said he was a suicide. He killed himself. And they also said that there was no cabal behind the shots taken at Trump. They were both just crazy lone guys. There was no conspiracy there. And MAGA world's pretty pissed at them because as podcasters, as Bongino is a podcaster, he claimed he was going to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein thing. And now he's saying now that he's seen all the information that the FBI and the federal government have, and he's been to the jail, he's concluded Epstein is a suicide. No
okay, question. But what my question because you know I love my conspiracy theories, Michael.
Oh, I know you do.
Why can't both be true?
Why can't it be true that he killed himself?
Yeah, and then but they can't. Why can't it be true that he killed himself, but also that he didn't kill himself? Now let me explain. So say Michael, I want you to. I won't even use a name. I'll say Phillips in here. He's one of the cast, one of our panel, and I say, Philip, I want you to kill yourself. And Philip's like, I don't want to kill myself. I'm not going to kill myself. But I say, Philip, you see this picture of your family that I have? You see your picture of your daughter that's walking home from 3rd grade?
Yeah.
See your wife who's getting out of Pilates and she's going into Lululemon? If you don't kill yourself, I'm going to kill all of them. And then I'm just keep going down the family tree mafia style.
Yeah, what Bongino said, though, was the man was sad and in despair because he was in prison and he killed himself.
Yeah, but I'm saying that. So both things can be true.
I hear what you're saying. The mob does that shit all the time, and that's true. But I think in this case, I think Epstein killed himself because he was in prison and he knew he was a guilty son of a bitch and he was probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison, and that the whole world fucking hated him and he was going to get outed as a child porn trafficker. And I think he killed himself. And I think that's what Bongino and Kash Patel have concluded based on the interview I watched.
See, I disagree just because I've heard too many autopsy reports of where, number one, the sheets that he used are like paper thin, like they can just rip. Number two, he had a major neck trauma where like it showed a human being choking him or something like that. The cameras just happened to go out.
I don't know, man.
It's one of those. I mean,
I'm gonna believe our FBI director.
I've got a different take. I think they're purposely lying to us just to like kind of get the guilty people to like relax a little bit.
Oh,
and then they're going to lower
that's
the boom.
a good conspiracy theory.
I think that's my conspirate.
That's your conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
I vacillate between he killed himself or it was the Illuminati got to him. The Bavarian Illuminati and the Rosicrucians and the Knights Templar.
And Opus Dei. Yeah.
And Opus Dei, they got to him. It's a Dan Brown thing for sure.
Damn good books.
Oh, I enjoy them very much. Yeah.
Literally page turners. So, Michael,
remind me, Rubio, to send you a recommendation for a whacked out conspiracy theory book you'll love.
Okay, that was your big conspiracy theory. That's it.
No, that was I just want to make sure everybody saw the news because it's for the amount of time the media has spent talking about Epstein's murder and who killed him. I have to say, masterfully done on the part of Kash Patel and company.
Here's the thing I don't get though. This is what doesn't make sense to me. They locked Epstein up for trafficking, right? That was the charge, trafficking.
Yeah.
Well, who did he traffic to?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
who the fuck did he traffic to? And why don't we have one name on that list?
Well,
Come
here's
on,
why.
man.
Here's why. Because
there's more. There's another boot getting ready to drop.
But so here's why we don't have one name, because we have names on both sides of the aisle. We got Republicans and we got Democrats.
Let it
no
out.
one wants that list.
Let it all out. Let it hang
I'm
out.
okay. By the way, I agree with you. If we can get the list, let's get the list. This is
I
what
don't care
WikiLeaks,
whose name is on it.
I
I want them
don't
all.
understand. If WikiLeaks and Anonymous and those guys want to turn their PR around, these are the kinds of things they should be publishing. They should be finding out these guys and putting that up on the internet. I agree with John Bergeron on this. If it's Clinton and Trump, I want to know both of them. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
I always
Totally
think
agree.
it's kind of funny that the right-wing guys talk a lot about how Clinton was really in with Epstein, and yet there's a dozen pictures of Trump standing next to him holding his hand. Like all these guys were in with Epstein.
But I haven't seen that picture of Trump in a dress.
Yeah, but I haven't seen a picture.
Kind of like, you know who.
Right. Oh, there's definitely that's the joke about what is.
You might find out with Diddy's trial. Diddy may be involved.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Did he? I bet he did.
Yeah.
That was a very good dad joke, and I really liked it.
Oh yeah, I'm full of those.
That was a good one.
You know, my favorite dad joke for this crowd is, what pronouns does chocolate use?
Hershey.
There you go. Hershey.
Bergeron says, no more secret bohemian grove meetings, but between power politicians.
I agree.
That's
Let's
beautiful.
get the Knights Templar out of politics.
I 100% agree. Guys, we have about 8 minutes left. Is there a topic that you want to bring up? Because I have like 4 more that I can bring up, but as always, I ended up kind of dominating it as I tend to do.
Yeah, let's talk about Caitlin Clark.
Oh, God. Okay. Is there a worse run organization than the WNBA trying to
so.
literally burn their cash cow? Like, what they do night in and night day in and day out, whatever you want to say, it's almost astronomical. It's like someone who's running it is trying to make it bad.
Yeah, I saw the thing, and I sent it to you earlier. And I was shocked. You know that Dave Portnoy, the Barstool guy, loves Caitlin Clark, and I mean he goes to all these games. He's paying top dollar for courtside seats. So he's one of the people funding the WNBA, and I guess during, that controversial play where Angel Reese missed a free throw and all hell broke loose, he yelled out, "Ball don't lie," which is it's. You hear that at every friggin' basketball game there is. Ball don't lie. And now they're talking about banning him from the WNBA, from attending it. I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be kidding. How stupid is that?
I think it's unfair to be talking about this without Tony on the call, but that's just my opinion. I think
I agree, but Tony's not here, so the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things where you Caitlin Clark does a hard foul on Angel Reese. Okay. No one shows the literally 4 seconds before that where Angel Reese 2-hand shoves the girl. And then that's why she was wide open and got the ball. And then there's the whole, oh my God, someone said a racial slur. Yes, in front of 12,000 people with 8,000 cameras out, someone's dropping a bomb out there, and no one got it on video. No one did this. No one did that. It's like, come on, dude. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon Calkins wants to know, anyone have any comments about the big, beautiful bill?
I thought you were talking about Bill. Big and beautiful.
I think he's talking about that. And Tony just commented on, said the show must go on. Listening while I work. Tony, you were being mentioned.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tony.
we missed you, Tony.
We missed you, Tony.
Yep.
Hey, Tony, I definitely miss you.
Okay, so Brandon Calkins wants to know about El Trumpo's big, beautiful bill. Obviously, there's good parts, there's bad parts. There's, it's one of those that for some reason, there's so much pork in every damn bill. It's so stupid. It's another one of those things that just give us what we want, guys. We don't care about this 70 extra pages of blank, but it just can't be done. I just don't know.
Well, I think Trump threw a wrench in the system where, he shows up at Congress today and he warns them all to leave Medicaid alone, which is not the direction, a lot of the Republicans were going. And I think he's made it more complicated for them equation-wise to come up with numbers that work. So we'll see what happens.
Crazy man, thoughts?
Just hoping that things do work out for the best for us. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or right. I'm looking forward to working with OEW this weekend to remember about the veterans, on all those that have.
What is OEW?
Yeah, I was going to.
It's Operation Enduring Warrior, and what we do is we bring in individuals, honorees, who have gone through trauma. They could be blind, TBI, could have lost a limb. We get them back out on the course, either through obstacle course, parachuting, scuba diving, to show that they are still productive. They can still give their knowledge, give their time back into society. What's wrong with our society is that once our veterans, Leos, and Fires go through this trauma, they want them to conform to society, where our society needs to conform to these individuals. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or right. These individuals, man and woman, gave everything that they had for this country, for people to speak like idiots now. Their freedom of speech.
Right.
And that's why I'm doing it, to support back. So
great.
Working with Operation Enduring Warrior, as well as working with an organization up in Boston with Vest for the Fallen. So we will actually walk from the Boston Commons to the Boston, Massachusetts National Cemetery.
Great.
For 65 miles.
Yeah, I know both those locations. That's amazing.
How far is that? How far is that again?
65 miles.
How long does that take you?
I'm hoping to be within 24, 25 hours.
Oh, so you're going to go straight through?
Yep.
That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you.
Crazy man, will you have like a GoPro on, or is there any way we can follow your journey on this? Is there?
I do have. I'm trying a new app that I'm going to work with Ed on, and so he can follow my process. I will post from time to time on my website, and I know some of you guys are friends with me, so you'll be able to follow that along
on social media.
Yes.
Because none of us are really friends with you.
No.
Except you.
I think that's the perfect ending to the show. Make sure everyone, if you're not friends with Crazy Man, Crazy Man, what's your real name again?
Alan Cole.
Yeah, Alan Cole. Well, I know it, but I want him to say it so everyone can follow him on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever.
No, you just wrote it. No,
shut up.
You just wrote it down. You just wrote it down.
Where?
I'm telling you, you just wrote it down. You just go back to the recording.
Ed, if you can get all that, if you can get that GoPro system worked out, we should bring it to the lunch that Ed and I are going to have in like 2 weeks with Nick Humble.
Yeah, Nick Humble. Shout out to Nick Humble.
Everybody should be part of that somehow.
I want no, Michael.
Hey, you got an iPhone. It takes videos too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no.
I could just FaceTime and leave it on the table.
Michael, we've already discussed you or Umble should wear the GoPro. I don't want Sub 60 wearing it because I don't want crotch shots the entire time.
You don't want crotch shots and knee shots?
All right,
No,
Sub
actually,
60,
what
I'm
we're
going to
gonna
take
do
this
is-
one, Sub 60. The winner of tonight's show is Michael because he was going up against the four-headed dragon. Give it up for Michael.
Give it up for Michael. All right, good job.
I would just like to think that the fans are the winner, really. That's
On that note, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another Decades Thunderdome. For Bill Geyser, for Michael, for Groove, for Crazy Man, and Sub 60 Ed, my name's Rubio. We're out of here.
everybody get your prostate checked.
Yes, get your prostate checked.